Bill, not necessarily what it feels like outside, but this record-setting heat offers a sobering reminder of a heat-related tragedy from just 1 year ago today.
San Antonio police found 39 undocumented immigrants inside a tractor trailer here in San Antonio on July 23, 2017. 10 of the immigrants died. Eyewitness News reporter Wright joins us with the changes and progress made in preventing this type of tragedy.
July 23, 2017, SAPD responds to a tractor trailer on San Antonio's south side. Inside, they found 39 undocumented immigrants. 8 men dead at the scene. 2 would later die at local hospitals. Among the group were 4 juveniles.
We're looking at a human trafficking crime here this evening.
August 16th, a grand jury indicted the man behind the wheel, James Bradley Jr. He was charged with 5 counts, including conspiracy to transport undocumented aliens for financial gain, resulting in death. In October, Bradley would plead guilty to 2 counts. In March, his co-defendant Pedro Silva Seguera would do the same. In April of 2018, Bradley was sentenced to life in federal prison. In the time since, traffickers haven't stopped using semis to bring people into the country. In January, SAPD arrested a Houston truck driver after a dozen people were found in the back of an 18-wheeler near Splashtown. Just this summer, trucker Gerardo Carrion was arrested after 55 immigrants were found in a trailer on San Antonio's northeast side. Border Patrol statistics paint a picture of change along the southern border. Border Patrol says so far, for May and June this year, they've rescued 896 people. They saw 621 people during that same time last year. Wright, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
San Antonio police declined to comment on this story, explaining they are no longer the agency handling the investigation. We also reached out to and are hoping to get a comment from DHS. DPS provided this statement when asked how they're combating smuggling. All DPS troopers have received training to spot abuse and trafficking of children, and they're asking the public to reach out in any time they think trafficking is suspected.